it would appear that there might be a reunion in the works between Zac Gallen and the Arizona Diamondbacks. We're going to talk about what that deal would take to get him back here in the Valley and if this would be a perfect match for both sides. Plus, there's another Perdomo. We're talking all about this right now. Don't you go anywhere. SkeeYee, and happy Monday to you all. Welcome into another edition of the PHNX Diamondbacks podcast, live from Studio K, presented by our friends at Circle K. It is I, your mayor of PHNX, occasionally known as Derek Montilla. Thrilled to have you guys here. Happy Monday to you all. Damon, dog, happy Monday to you. We got Damon Fairall on the ones and twos today.
Happy Monday, Derek.
How's it going, my guy?
I mean, life's good when you have two Perdomos on your MLB franchise.
Yeah, I saw your tweet. You step two of your eventual plan to have 9 Perdomos.
Correct.
On this team. I
Correct.
can't wait. I don't even know if Geraldo Perdomo's a real guy. I think it might just be Geraldo Perdomo with a fake mustache on.
That was kind of what I was envisioning, Derek, is a world where Perdomo hits like, he hits like second in the lineup, and he also hits like 6th in the lineup or 7th.
Like I said, if we got Cody Bellinger, he would have to play all 3 positions at the same time, right? Like much like that. I don't mind having Geraldo and Geraldo both out there at the same time. But welcome into you guys. Thrilled to have you guys here. Like I said, happy Monday to you all. We are making a big push around here to get to 50,000 subscribers on YouTube. So, of course, we could use your help with that. If you have not subscribed yet, I don't even know how you found us, but if you're new around these parts, welcome. I love you. I hate the Dodgers, and we have all the good things about the Diamondbacks that you love here on this show. So make sure you subscribe if you can help spread the word. We would love to hit 50,000 subscribers here, especially before the Super Bowl. That's kind of our goal here. And then all the producers like Damon get a pizza party. So if you're not subscribed, you're realistically depriving Damon of sustenance, of nourishment. So not to put too much pressure on you, but again, hit that subscribe button.
Do you want me to be fed or not?
Yeah, do you want Damon to eat or not, basically, is the question.
Because I'm not eating if I don't get the pizza party.
Yeah, exactly. He's definitely
They
not
don't pay us
doing
enough around here.
You know who isn't getting paid very much, or maybe nothing at all, or at least I don't know what's happening really, but Darvish. This is a little NL West news. Briefly retired the other day, basically. He did retire, or did he? We don't know. But according to this first tweet from Bob Nightingale said, Darvish, 39, considered an icon among Japanese players who have followed him to MLB, has informed the San Padres that he is retiring. He is walking away from $43 million left in the next 3 years of his contract, as Kevin Acee reports.
The San Padres is funny.
San Padres is insane. But let's go ahead and let's take a look at that update that came very quickly after, I believe, about 15 minutes later. Bob Nightingale tweeted, Joel Wolf, Darvish's agent, responds, has not made a final decision yet. This is a complicated matter, and we are still working through. According to the reports here, it sounded like he still doesn't know if he's going to return, but he asked to opt out of his deal with the Padres or whatever the case may be. This is just, again, we haven't had a lot of good divisional news, and I just needed to share once again what a weird situation is happening in San Diego and how hopefully that franchise is going in the opposite direction of where they've been going the last few years. It feels like there was going to be a point where the internal strife, the ownership group situation versus the former owner's widow, having this disagreement and not being able to come to what seemed like any kind of amicable ownership situation might just mean that the Padres are one less team we have to worry about in 2026. You couldn't say that about them in 2025. So again, and Darvish, what a legend, somebody that we have always had to worry about, playing against with his time in San Diego. If he is done, it's unfortunate that he retires due to the injury situation, but still a tremendous career, right? But speaking of tremendous careers, apparently, Damon, nobody is good enough to be on the cover of MLB the Show. At least that's what we're initially hearing based on some news that came out just this morning, where the MLB the Show account on Twitter and social media posted this letter, I guess you could say, this update on what their situation. It says
press release
for immediate release to our MLB the Show community. First off, we at San Studios, that's just a joke, San Diego Studios, want to thank you, the MLB the Show community, for your continued support and feedback. We know that you are all just as excited as we are for the release of MLB the Show 26, so we wanted to let everyone know that this year we have decided that we will not have a new cover athlete. Please stay tuned to all our local channels for more information to come. I mean, this is cryptic. It has sent the MLB the Show community spiraling to figure out what exactly is going on here when it comes to who the cover athlete is going to be, why their wording was so particular. And again, I would not be surprised to see them go in multiple directions. Brett actually was thinking along the same lines I was thinking. Brett said I could see them doing a WBC cover. Absolutely. I mean, they had the tremendous Negro Leagues mode of 2 years back that featured this great storytelling, and even then, I felt like would have been a great time to feature some of those team logos on the cover. I think they had a special edition that they might have done that with overall. Nick is saying it's a fan vote. That would not surprise me at all if that was the case. However, I'm not sure if we have the photo in question. I don't think we do, but I'm wondering if they're just going to further press Shohei Ohtani on us by featuring Decoy on the cover of MLB the Show. Because why not? Why not have a covered dog and just really shove our face in Shohei Ohtani's life overall? But
I'll grab it. I'm grabbing it for us, Derek.
Oh yeah, because he got an award, did he not, Damon? Apparently the dog received an award.
I hate this stupid dog.
Oh my God. I'm going to objectively say something here. The dog in question, here's the photo that we're talking about. Decoy in this photo, he's all grown up, and he very much looks like he's asking to be rescued, saved.
Well, I know you mentioned to me that he is.
It's a cry for help.
It's called the cops.
Yeah.
Lock him up.
Yeah.
Like Decoy knows all the secrets.
He knows every single secret.
You could tell he knows the secrets.
Every single one of them. And look at him. He's suspicious of this. He's like, why are you guys giving a dog an award? What are we doing here? What is this cover up?
Yet another cover up. Yeah, that's what it is.
It's just one cover up after
Decoy
that.
Decoy
the decoy. Ugh. Anyway, well, we have big news, I guess, in our world here, and that is that according to reports, Zac Gallen is possibly heading back here to the Diamondbacks. We discussed this in a previous episode. We talked about Zac honestly perhaps meaning more to this franchise, much like we said about Paul Goldschmidt, than he would mean to other teams. We know at one point that he was allegedly signing with the Cubs, and that did not happen. But according to a report from The Athletic, Jim Bowden has labeled the Diamondbacks as the front runners to re-sign Zac Gallen. He wrote that Arizona would love to bring Gallen back and is considered one of the top fits on the free agent market because a return wouldn't cost them a draft pick should he sign. That seems to be the big story with Framber Valdez. It seems to be the big story with Zac Gallen, that the compensatory draft pick tied to these players are not the only reason, but a reason why they haven't been signed. One of many reasons, perhaps, in Zac Gallen's case, that he hasn't been signed. But he suggested that perhaps a short-term opt-out deal, which is something that we would be kind of a fan of here with the Diamondbacks' current situation, wouldn't be the worst situation unless he signed elsewhere. If he did, then that bumps the Diamondbacks draft pick that they received down considerably. And, again, it's still receiving a draft pick, but not receiving a draft pick there after that first round, which would be so valuable for this franchise. So, again, perhaps a short-term deal, 2-year with an opt-out, player opt-out of the first deal, player opt-out after, maybe 2 years with a 3-year deal. Not the worst-case scenario. Again, we love Gallen here. I know there are some fans that are very fed up with him and feel like...
Yeah, they had high expectations, I think, is the best way of putting it.
He was our ace. He was our ace, and he hasn't been our ace over the last 2 seasons.
Correct.
That's safe to say. But it doesn't mean that Zac Gallen doesn't still have value on the mound. And it doesn't mean that he, again, wouldn't probably find more success with this team that he's comfortable with Merrill Kelly returning, than he would with elsewhere. You know what I mean? I feel like, especially once Merrill Kelly signed here, as much as we always said it would be one or the other, it really did feel like it was one of the reasons that Gallen might return, right? He does have interest from other clubs. I know there's a lot of people that are thinking that Gallen is only, the Diamondbacks are only a front runner here because the Diamondbacks are the only team that are interested in Gallen. But apparently he has drawn interest from the Orioles, the Braves, the Giants, and the Tigers. They've all shown interest. And this means that it's not, a slam dunk that Gallen's going to return here. But again, it would appear that Arizona has somehow is ahead of the pack as far as, his return.
I would say that the Tigers are worst case scenario out of that entire group right there, Derek, because that means that Skeens is gone or Skubal is gone. If they sign Zac Gallen, they are not extending Tariq Skubal.
Well, I don't think they are anyway, right?
They probably aren't, but there's like a slim chance of hope of like, man, maybe they just figure it out. But if they get Gallen, they're going to use that as an opportunity to tell their fan base, see, guys, look, we are trying. We just signed Zac Gallen. And then we traded Skubal for a haul. Yeah. And we gave him to the Dodgers. Oh, God, and you're going to be like, oh, okay. Oh. So that's what we should not do.
And then we got to do another Dbacks After Dark about the Dodgers. Third one in a row, right, is what you're suggesting. Skubal is starting to remind me of the Corbin Burns situation, right? That this is a similar situation where things seem to get nasty with the organization, especially during arbitration. And it feels like even if the Tigers wanted to extend him, I'm not sure if he would stay with that franchise now at this point, potentially, right? But again, you're right. It does feel like there are other pieces that we are waiting to fall into place, including Framber Valdez and other starting pitchers, before Zac Gallen could essentially, find a landing spot, right? But multiple outlets, not just Jim Bowden, are suggesting that a return to Arizona is one of the most realistic outcomes here for Gallen. And again, if they can agree on terms and a short-term deal that really, is probably right in the neighborhood of what he was going to receive as a qualifying offer for 2025 or 2026, I don't think that it's a bad deal for either side, right? Gallen's market has not been good, Damon, and that goes back to the trade deadline, right? I remember one of our post-game interviews with Gallen after the trade deadline. Gallen expressed disappointment that he didn't hold enough value that the team could have traded him. Essentially, they were not receiving offers that were satisfactory, but I don't even know if satisfactory is the word. Satisfactory is like the offers they didn't receive for Cattell. What they weren't receiving for Gallen was anything, right? So, but what I will say is that might have been a wake-up call for Zac Gallen, because we pulled some numbers here. We've kind of talked about how Zac Gallen was much better in the second half than he was in the first half. And I guess this is actually, when you look at his season, it's all over the place. Inconsistent is the best way to describe Zac Gallen's 2025. But when you look at his final 11 starts, Zac Gallen was actually pretty good. Now, these are the final 11 starts post the trade deadline. This was after Gallen wasn't traded. This was after he felt disappointed that he didn't have value to bring to his team. Gallen went 6-3 in 11 games with a 3.32 ERA, a 3.95 FIP, a 234 batting average on balls in play, or BABIP, and 1.11 home runs per 9, which he was awful at for the rest of the season?
It was 1.63, I believe, Derek, from the first half or before the trade deadline is what Zac Gallen's home runs per 9
I mean,
was. So almost a half home run per 9 innings difference.
Right, and he was. It felt like he was basically giving up a home run every single game, if not multiple home runs. Right. Now there are plenty of stretches where you could see Gallen was very good, but it feels like it didn't surpass 2 or 3 games before you saw him giving up 6 earned runs, 5 earned runs in a game, 7 earned runs in a game. Now, I said last year, watching Gallen, that it felt like a lot of his frustrations stemmed from the defense behind him, and it felt like the miscues defensively made him kind of fall apart, right? And again, sometimes as a pitcher, that's the case, but I really did feel like you watched Gallen kind of unravel really quickly once an error was made defensively. I still think that he has a tremendous amount of value, and as we have said, I do not feel comfortable with the starting rotation based on the way it's currently made up. And it's nothing against these guys. It's simply the lack of depth. It's simply the lack of belief that, again, you're asking for so much to go the Diamondbacks' way this year for the starting rotation to be good. You got Merrill Kelly, you got Ryan Nelson right now. Those guys you feel great about. But then the other 3 guys, Brandon, Eduardo, and now Michael Soroka, there's a lot of question marks there. And again, what we've had to say time and time again is if you could get the best out of them that you've seen out of them, then this starting rotation is incredible. I just feel like that's asking a lot. I feel like we're crossing our fingers and hoping for people to turn things around more than, having statistical data to back it up that makes you believe that this starting rotation can compete in a very tough division and, again, compete for one of those wild card spots that got substantially more difficult to obtain after other teams in the National League got better this offseason. So it's not to say the Diamondbacks didn't do their best to improve. I still think Mike Hazen did a tremendous job with the limited resources he had to improve this team, or at least fix some of the holes they had and make it a more well-rounded team. However, I still just don't think that they did enough to classify this team as a contender on paper before the season starts. As Damon and I have said it time and time again, prove us wrong. Prove us wrong. And I would love to see Zac Gallen come back and prove a lot of people wrong. And again, a deal where he could potentially come in, shove for 2026, worry about the financial insecurity of 2027, get through that situation with the new CBA, and then once we're on the other side of it, potentially have either another season with the Diamondbacks, a final season, or be able to opt out after the 2027 season. I wouldn't be surprised also to see a clause, just like we talked about earlier, where, there's some sort of 2027, if 2027 doesn't happen as a season, that could change things as well. So, but again, I would love to hear from you guys, as we always ask you to do so. Are you excited to get Zac Gallen back? I still think that that's the biggest problem with all of these reunions, including Merrill Kelly. Yes, you made the team complete, but did you make the team better? And again, what you're asking for in a way is for all these guys to be better than they were last year. So I don't really know. Umama in the chat said, I thought the Dbacks only had $5 million left to spend. You're not wrong about that. And based on our estimates and based on what Kenny Hendricks said about, basically reducing payroll in any way, they would have probably less than $5 million to spend in order to actually reduce payroll, right? It's all a decision. It's a decision. And if they can get Gallen back here on what they feel like is a reasonable deal, and if they feel like he is enough to improve this starting lineup or starting rotation and make this team a contender, then, he might be worth it, right? But I also feel like you're not wrong. Like I'd still, there's other pieces I would have still rather that they spent money on rather than necessarily adding Michael Soroka, if this was the case with Zac Gallen, or, again, maybe doing more when it comes to like a first baseman or the bullpen. There's that. There's a lot there. So I still think the Diamondbacks have a lot of problems to fix, and I still don't think that they have the money to do so. So if you're asking me from a financial perspective, I still don't think that Zac Gallen coming back for $20 million is as important as adding a Paul Goldschmidt, adding to the bullpen, doing those things. It feels like, for the most part, they're done with the bullpen. It feels like the most part, they're done with almost this entire team. I do feel like the only areas that they could still address, and this is what Gambo brought up the other day, is perhaps adding one more arm to the bullpen and still going after a first baseman in free agency, or perhaps via trade. Not sure on what avenue they're going to pursue in order to fill that first base hole. I just know that this doesn't, as good as Zac Gallen was over that 11-game stretch to wrap up the season, this still isn't a move that's going to feel exciting and feel like this team got better. So I don't know.
I mean, it's hard to feel like your team gets better when your two biggest moves are bringing back your two pitchers that were a part of the horrible pitching staff from last season.
I mean, Merrill Kelly wasn't even part of that. I mean, Merrill Kelly was part of a bright spot, right? A sub-4 ERA for Merrill Kelly when he was a part of the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, no, he was good. I mean, it's just like, it's hard to like sell that to your fans of like, hey, our pitching was a problem, so we decided to run it back. Yeah. But also at the same time, and we've talked about this the last week or so, Derek, like, this is a team that I think had so much bad luck the last two seasons. It's hard not to say that, they're due for a little bit of better luck, right? Like, it feels like every single thing has gone wrong. Brandon Pfaadt has not taken the next step. Eduardo Rodriguez has been an absolute disaster signing. Zac Gallen fell off of a cliff. Like, the only thing that didn't go wrong, I guess, was Ryan Nelson stepping up and becoming a solid starting pitcher in his own right. But I think that, you can convince yourself, and at least I can, that like if they did bring back Zac Gallen, that there's no way it would be as bad, the rotation, that being as last season's rotation, even with having the same guys. I just can't envision that.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's the definition of insanity, right? Doing the same thing and expecting different results. I know that sometimes works in baseball, but it's hard to get a fan base excited about a team that really hasn't changed that much. Brett Johnson in the chat says we're going to get Pavin at first and we're going to like it.
No question about it.
Yeah, you're going to love it, Damon.
I mean, I tweeted it a while ago, Derek, and I'm going to be keeping track of this all season. The Diamondbacks are going to have the 28th, 29th, or 30th ranked OPS from all their first basemen in the entire sport. I guarantee it. And it's going to be a gaping black hole at that position. You might look at Pavin Smith's stats at one point in the season and go, wow, those really aren't so bad. But I promise you, it's not going to be a position that is going to be positively impacting this team.
We also had a great point from Ernesto up there in the chat, Damon. He said, better luck is named Jeremy Blake. And I do think that Jeremy Blake is going to have a big impact. New assistant GM, pitching guru coordinator from the Pirates.
He made Paul Skeens. We've been over this.
He created Paul Skeens in a laboratory. Yes, that is correct. So I don't know. And I mean, again, maybe all of that would help Zac Gallen replicate what he did in those final 11 games. If Gallen comes back at a sub $20 million a year contract and puts up a 3.32 ERA in 26, then again, it's a crazy good deal. But this is once again asking for yet another player to have their best season, another pitcher specifically to have a comeback. And I feel like, unfortunately, outside of guys named Merrill Kelly and Ryan Nelson, we're expecting that out of everybody, Damon, everybody.
At least Zac Gallen's
outside of
done
them
it
and
before.
Andrew Saalfrank, right? Like, those are the guys that's like, no, do what you did last year. Everybody else be better.
Saalfrank, too small of a sample size to feel like super confident that that's just going to hold forever. But I do like what I saw from him last year. But I think with Gallen, at least you can convince yourself. I've seen him do it before. He's 30 years old. That's like prime age. You know what I mean? It's not like he's 35, 36. So and you did see a decent, as we talked about, back end of the year once he was settled, once he knew that he was going to be staying in Arizona for a while. And I think that, you can, I could be convinced of this.
Right.
I can.
This is the Zac Gallen we know and love right here.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it is. I mean, the FIP, obviously it's a little different than the ERA, and I think that, but again, it's
still above league average.
That's
still
positive regression, is it not?
Because
his FIP was lower than his ERA in the first half of the season. So sometimes it just works out like that. I wouldn't be mad at bringing back Zac Gallen, especially not if it's not going to be like the most risky of contracts in the entire world. I could convince myself Zac Gallen is going to be back and figure some things out. But it does feel just a little bit nasty being like, well, we're running it back without Naylor and Geno, and this team's going to be good enough. And you're like, huh? That's interesting. But yeah.
Oh no. Well, I think Arenado is going to have himself a good season with the Diamondbacks. I think he's going to be a pleasant surprise in 2026.
I agree. I'm excited for Arenado.
But all right. Well, we're going to take a quick break. But on the other side of this break, there's more Perdomos to be added to this team. Damon, we're going to make an entire team of Perdomos, and we're going to win all the World Series titles, multiple in a row. We're going to talk about that on the other side of this break. Don't you go anywhere. You're watching the PHNX Diamondback Show. Well, I love our friends over at Pure Edibles, and that is because they were founded right here in Flagstaff, Arizona, but it's also because they make a wonderful product. Pure Edibles is a full-fledged candy company, not just gummies, but they have, of course, everything that you're looking for when it comes to an edibles company. They have, of course, do have gummies. They have Kicks, which are their version of Starburst. They have Chews, which are soft candies like caramels, hard candies, and new variety coming out at all times. The best part about our friends over at Pure Edibles is that you can find exactly what you're going to get on each can. Of course, you have the desired effect and, of course, the delicious flavor of each candy available on the outside of each tin. They also have a collab with our friends up at Mother Road Brewing Company. I love myself a Tower Station IPA, and now you can get yourself the Tower Station IPA all-in-one, which captures the crisp citrus and piney hops of Arizona's favorite IPA, but with a smooth THC twist in an all-in-one device. So do not miss out on all of this wonderful joy that Pure Edibles can bring into your life. Go find yourself some Pure Edibles products from one of over 130 dispensaries across Arizona. And speaking of Arizona, Arizona Lottery wants to multiply the good things in life for you, whether that good thing in life is vacation time, relaxation time, or like me, just time doing nothing at all. They can help you out. They can also hook you up with quite a bit of money thanks to their new multiplier scratchers, which are the perfect way to add to your life. With over $270 million in prizes, you could win big enough to do more of the things you love. Multiplier tickets start at just $1 and have prizes up to $5 million. And I know Damon and I could definitely spend a lot of that money on new cars right about now. So, of course, make sure you go grab yourself some multiplier scratcher tickets. With access to over 3,500 retailers across the state, you can play whenever and wherever you'd like. Love to play. Must be 21 or over to enjoy. Well, we got some super chats here. Sorry, Cool Bro. We were going to get to those, and they're both from Cool Bro. What do we got here, Damon?
Well, first off, Cool Bro says, really, Damon? 6th or 7th in the lineup? And I think that's a 6-7 joke.
That is totally a 6-7 joke, yeah.
I didn't mean that Geraldo Perdomo can't be better than the 6th or 7th hitter, but I did mean that we put a mustache on Geraldo Perdomo and we have him bat twice in the lineup.
Yeah.
And we just have to put him about as far as he is from his first spot.
Yeah, so that he can get on base, score,
exactly.
And then subsequently come back around.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then we also have another one from Cool Bro.
Yeah,
Cool Bro more of a joke, Shohei's contract or Shador Pro Bowl.
Man.
Damon.
Is that
Damon, that one's directed at you. You're going to have to handle that one, bud.
I mean, two of the biggest shams in sports history, I'd argue. One is. Here's what I'll say. The Shador thing matters a lot less. One is ruining the fabric of the sport that we love.
Sure.
And it will cause a lockout in the next season that keeps us from watching baseball.
Meanwhile, the Pro Bowl thing is just the Pro Bowl being the Pro Bowl.
The Pro Bowl is a disaster, and NFL football will continue to be electric despite Shador being in the Pro Bowl. But my God, what a Make-A-Wish charity award.
Bigger Make-A-Wish, Clayton Kershaw on Team USA or him on the Pro Bowl team.
Oh my God.
I'm making these harder.
These are just it's just anger Damon month, I guess. It's ridiculous, dude. Derek, if you're Shador Sanders, you should turn it down.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding. Yeah. You're gonna catch so much more hate by accepting it and by going than if you were just like, honestly, guys, I'm focused on next year. I didn't deserve it this season. I'm gonna work hard all offseason to earn it next year, which I think would
respect that.
That would be a respectable move, in my opinion. Instead, we have a guy who threw for 10 freaking touchdowns and 7 picks in the Pro Bowl.
Cool, bro. Thank you for your super chats. And we also have a super chat from our guy, Brett Johnson. Thank you so much, Brett. He says, sir, a second Perdomo has hit the franchise. And yes, that's where we are at. There is another Perdomo. There is another one! Geraldo, which is very hard to look up because Google wants to think that you're saying Geraldo. You're like, I want to learn more about Geraldo Perdomo. And they're like, we got you. Here's all of Geraldo Perdomo's stats. Well, Geraldo Perdomo is a different person, and he is the younger brother of Arizona Diamondback shortstop Geraldo Perdomo. He's an outfielder prospect who has been connected to the Arizona Diamondbacks. We got this tweet from Francis Romero. Francis Romero had this to say: Dominican outfielder Geraldo Perdomo is expected to sign during the current international signing period 2025 to 2026 with the Arizona Diamondbacks. He is Geraldo's brother. The official signing could take place in the coming weeks.
Never in doubt, Derek. Never in doubt. I guarantee you there was not a chance Geraldo was going to sign with a different organization.
Yeah. No, there's no chance.
Jerry is the Diamondbacks.
Right.
And so Jerry probably was the one that is doing the recruiting, reaching out to his brother, going, when are you signing the dotted line? Because we need you on this team.
We need you here now immediately.
I want to call him Yeri. Can we call him Yeri? I want Jerry and Yeri.
I like Yeri. If you're Geraldo Perdomo and you're the younger brother and your brother's name is Geraldo Perdomo, at what age do you put it together and get angry at your parents? At what age are you like, what in the actual hell did you do here, right? Like my brothers have incredible, like my two older brothers, Dax and Scott, couldn't have more different origin stories about their name. One came from a book about a secret agent. The other came from my father flying out of Philadelphia while my mother was giving birth, and all he saw in the darkness of the night was the Scott tissue paper factory, the light blinking in the darkness. Those are two very different stories as to where names came from. So again, one of my brothers definitely has some questions for my parents, right? When it comes to this, I also know that both of those brothers hated being 1 year apart because of the whole, like, they're basically twins, but they're not twins and they want to be their own individuals. I can only imagine having my name only one letter different than my big brothers. That just feels like I'm definitely following in their footsteps 100%. But hopefully he does. Hopefully what we have is yet another MVP candidate coming from the Dominican Republic.
I can't wait for Geraldo Perdomo, for Peraldo Perdomo.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man, we're going to make this all 9 Dbacks lineup.
Geraldo Perdomo is going to be electric.
Yeah, Geraldo is nasty.
He's a pitcher. Yeah, filthy stuff. He's got filthy stuff.
No, we're going to have a 9-man lineup of Perdomos.
Yeah, I know that's your goal.
And we're going to save baseball.
I mean, we're going to at least save the Diamondbacks.
From the Dodgers.
Yeah.
That might be the only team that could take them down.
Is there a team that gets more connected than brothers? Than actual brothers?
Than 9 Perdomo brothers all playing the field?
No, there is no.
Absolutely not.
There is no connection there that's deeper than that. But MLB, Damon, did release their top 100 prospects list, and the Diamondbacks had one on the list.
Ryan Waldschmidt. You're damn right. Out of the top 100?
Out of the top 100, which is so surprising considering
I'm shocked Tommy Troy didn't make it.
We just talked about not just Tommy Troy, but we talked about the Diamondbacks having 3 top 10 second base prospects here overall. And meanwhile,
I mean, it is a second baseman. I think that does factor into it, where it's like that's a position that is just typically, unless you have Ketel Marte, literally, unless you have Ketel Marte, and I think that's why we've been, pounding the table so hard for like, we need an absolute haul if we're trading away the best second baseman by far in the league. But like usually a second baseman is going to be one of your worst hitters on the team. So it makes sense a little bit that like, there'd be like 30 outfielders as compared to like 3 second basemen on the top 100 list. But that being said, Tommy Troy strikes me as a guy who would make it because his MLB ETA is coming up here, because he does seem ready to go, and because he's been a first-round pick. He's been kind of on the people's radars for a while. So I'm actually pretty surprised that he didn't make it in particular. Crisantes and J.D. Dix less so, just because they're both in in single A, and I think that
they're a bit further off.
There's a little bit of a factor of how far off you are that goes into that.
And I mean, don't get me wrong, there's plenty of prospects on here that are definitely an A plus, double A, all over the place, right? But again, Ryan Waldschmidt, lone representative, 59th on the top 100 prospects list. Meanwhile, he
didn't make the top 10 outfielders, by the way, Derek. When Jonathan Mayo came out with the top 10 outfielders, I was scouring it, looking for my sweet baby boy, Ryan Waldschmidt. And here I am, and I'm like, what is he, like 11th, 12th? Because he probably, I'll look at it right now, but to find out where he actually is ranked. But I'm pretty sure he almost made the top 10 outfielders. You know who has 3 top 10 outfielders?
Who's that, Damon?
The Los Angeles Dodgers.
Yeah, I was going to bring up. In
case you were curious.
I went through the top 100 list. I was trying to find out which teams had the most prospects on this list. Of course, the Pittsburgh Pirates had the number 1 overall prospect in shortstop and outfielder, Connor Griffin. And then they also have Bubba Chandler, who's a right-handed pitcher, who is 11th overall. He's already made his MLB debut. But when I went through and checked, it would appear the Pittsburgh Pirates had 5 prospects on the top 100 overall prospects list. I believe that's the most, but I could be wrong. I could have missed another team. But I did notice that the Los Angeles Dodgers also had 5 prospects on the top 100 list for the Dodgers as well. It just goes to show why this team is so suffocating. It's and again, as much as people think that this is us hating on the Dodgers, I want you to understand without a doubt, it absolutely is. But I will say that the reason why we hate on the Dodgers is because of how good they are and how good they are at everything and how much money they have to spend. Like, at least you could look at other teams that do things well the same way the Dodgers do. Like, you look at the teams that spend money, right? That's something you could say. Those teams spend money well. They just don't spend it correctly, right, on the right pieces. Whereas the Dodgers hit on everything they spend on. And then if they don't, they figure out a way. They'll just go get Edwin Diaz and cover up their mess with Tanner Scott.
I was going to say that they find out a way to make it work. They go, Roki Sasaki, you suck. We'll go to the minors for half a month, come back, and be a shutdown relief pitcher that's going to help us win the World Series. And you're like, he was just crying on the mound earlier this season. If that happened to a Diamondbacks player, he would be cooked for the remainder of his contract.
Broken for the rest of his career. Cooked. Well, yeah, contract, yes, until he went to another team. And
instead, he's the best. He'd be the best reliever in Dbacks history, what he just showed in the postseason. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
If nothing makes me more sick in the world. I also think Waldschmidt is either 12th or 13th on the outfield list, depending on if you consider let me see here. And depending on if you consider Edward Florentino of the Pirates as a first baseman or an outfielder, because he plays both positions. But Waldschmidt, I believe, is either 12th or 13th on the outfield list.
That's he deserves to be higher. Well,
I mean, I'm fine with that. It's the deepest position group you're going to find because it covers 3 positions, and it's the best hitters typically. So.
And he's still only at a AA level, right? So there's probably time for him to move up on that list.
For sure.
But it's still just a list, right? The one thing I've realized time and time again is as much as we spend time looking at these players, these prospects, so few of them actually work out. And in fact, the ones that tend to work out seem to come out of nowhere and be a bit of a surprise, right? I feel like baseball teams are getting better at this, though, so that these baseball prospects, they're not as much of a mystery, or at least their potential isn't as much of a mystery as it was at one point. But again, that's the hard part about baseball, is trying to determine which of these young players are going to be able to adapt and become a major leaguer, right?
What do you think about this conspiracy that Kyle's putting in the chat here? I'm fully on board.
I mean, in general, it would make sense for their prospects to be overhyped. So Kyle is saying, I swear the Dodgers pay MLB Pipeline rank their prospects higher than they actually are so that they can get insane trade value for them. I don't, other than knowing the people at MLB Pipeline and sticking up for them and saying they're fine folks that would not take a bribe. I don't know. I'd take a bribe, Damon. I would take a bribe. Maybe I'm bribed to say nice things about the Dodgers on this podcast. You'll never know that because they have so much money they could easily bribe me. And you know me. The one thing I don't have enough of in life is money. So that is something that I very much would take them up on.
Here's what I will say is that MLB absolutely wants the Dodgers to be the top dog. I mean, that's evident by what they allow on an annual basis in terms of their sport. It benefits them because they get 150 million people in Japan to watch the World Series if the Dodgers are good. So that's cool and all, but like it's not it wouldn't exactly be the most shocking thing in the world, Derek, for MLB to be like partially contributing to, let's rank the Dodgers a little bit higher because it benefits us at the trade deadline and makes things a little bit more interesting, gets us some more publicity, if you will. But yeah, I wouldn't be shocked. I really wouldn't.
Here's what I will say. This is inside information, probably information I shouldn't even be sharing on the show, but I'm going to anyway. I was told from somebody that works at Fanatics that they lost a lot of money on essentially the Patriots making the Super Bowl, which is crazy because the Patriots are a big franchise. One of the most well-established franchises in NFL history, right, with all the Super Bowl wins and playoff game appearances and all of that. But the Bears were going to break last year's merchandise record that was set by the Philadelphia Eagles. But the Bears did not make the Super Bowl here. So the estimate that they lost by the Bears not making it and by essentially teams right now that see less revenue than other teams, the estimate is $40 million that Fanatics lost in the Super Bowl by the two teams being in it that are in it, right? So when you think that there is not and that's just a Fanatics, that's just a merchandise company that merely sells jerseys and
Yankees Dodgers is the greatest thing that's ever happened to Fanatics.
Right. That's what I'm saying, right? If you don't think that there's not a financial vested interest in certain teams being part of championships, like the Rangers and the Diamondbacks must have been a disaster.
Oh, no doubt about it.
Must have been an absolute disaster.
That's why people say stupid things like we don't want to see no one wants to see the Diamondbacks in the World Series when it's like, okay, well then what's the point of the sport? If we just want to see all the Dodgers in the World Series every single year, that's not fun for anybody that actually cares about what baseball should be. But that being said, I 100% the bigwigs all would love the Dodgers to constantly be at the top. And here's the other thing, I think Caesar puts here in the chat, and it's definitely true. The Dodgers have the best player development staff. They have the best scouting department. Like all of these things are always said about the Dodgers because they're such a well-run organization. But it goes back to what you said, Derek. They have more money. They can invest more into all of these things.
Everything.
And they do.
Right.
And they do. And that's fine. And that's good for them. They care about winning. But at the same time, there's a reason that they can do that. And it's because of their television deal that no one else touches. If we had a television deal like that, yeah, I'm sure we would have a bit of a bigger analytics department, scouting department, the top of the line people that are in these fields running the show because they can do it. And so it's all goes back to money constantly with the Dodgers.
What's laughable too, Damon, is we talked about a few weeks ago that MLB is going to be centralizing minor league data on players, right? Which means that even some teams that spend a bunch of money on analytics and new methods to determine if players are going to be, or who they should draft, which players have a future, all of that stuff. Like they want to centralize that and make that everybody has access to the same information. I'll just say, if anything, that should be the department where a team is allowed to spend more money than other teams so that they have an advantage, not on their roster, not on their payroll, but on in-house analytics and such where they can afford, I guess, more sophisticated or newer methods of analyzing players and not needing to share that information with the rest of the league because it's proprietary and it's only theirs, right? So I don't know, there's weird things in baseball that I feel like should be fine with teams who have more money having that advantage. And then there's other things that absolutely need fixed, right? But I'll tell you another thing that needs fixed is this goddamn top 10 games of 2025 list that they released on MLB.com. After perusing the top 100 prospects list, I moved right into the top 10 games of 2025. And I was like, oh boy, let's see what they got, which games are going to be on here. And of course, a lot of the games from the World Series and the playoffs were in there because there were some elite electric games going on, Damon, especially in the World Series. I have to admit that we were Toronto Blue Jays fans. We had a lot of fun there for a little while watching that World Series. But 2 Diamondbacks games ended up on the top 10 most memorable games of 25 list. 2 of them. Damon.
I'm going to guess 0-2.
Oh, you are so right. You are so right. Number 9, the unhinged slugfest at Wrigley Field.
Yeah.
Where I was at the casino in Las Vegas, and they came back and then lost. And then also another one, the May 9th game against the Dodgers, where the Diamondbacks also came back in that game, only for the Dodgers to come back and take a lead. They said top 10 most memorable games, Damon. I define these as 2 of the games I would like to forget more than any other games I've witnessed throughout the entire season. I want the Men in Black to come in and flash me with their little pen. I want to have selective memory loss and have that be one of the moments, both of those games be moments that I never remember ever again as long as I live.
I think you could probably put in there, Derek, for our case here, and all Diamondbacks fans, the top 10, games that you wish that you could forget.
Yeah, that would be one of them.
Because I guarantee Dodgers winning the World Series is number 1. And, it's just a disaster list.
Dodgers scored 6 runs in the top of the 9th inning of that game on May 9th to come back and win it 14-11.
It's a disaster list. Games that make me feel worse about myself. Top 10. Top 10 games that take me into a cold, dark depression.
Yeah. Jeremy says, I hate blown leads more than I hate shutouts. I'd rather get blown out than a blown lead. I know that's safe to say. But these games where we were getting blown out and then we came back, the Diamondbacks were down after 3 innings in this game, 8-3. 1 in the 4th, 4 in the 5th, 1 in the 6th, 2 in the 7th to take a lead, 11-8. 11-8. Going into the top of the 9th, Damon, and the Dodgers won 14-11. Oh my God! All right, well,
Derek, Jarmy is putting here in the chat that there's probably an alternate reality where he's a Dodgers or Yankees fan and he hates his alternate reality self, and then he says he also doesn't return shopping carts and he cheers for the Dodgers. He's the worst.
He's a bad person.
Have you seen that guy? I know this is really off topic, but have you seen that guy who throws the magnets at people's cars?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He sticks the shopping cart magnet on people's cars and they get fired up at him. And he's like, "Oh no, go return your shopping cart and I'll take it off." And then he'll throw another one at him when they take the one off.
Great. Great.
I'm envisioning you either being that guy, Derek, or physically fighting that guy if you didn't return your shopping cart on a particular circumstance.
I do return my shopping carts.
Yeah, I would assume you would. But if you didn't,
I would fight you.
If you didn't for some reason and you threw a magnet at your car, I think you'd try to take his head off.
I would. Well, we're going to take a quick break. You know what day it is. You know what we do on these days. We're going to do that on the other side of this break. Don't you go anywhere. You're watching the PHNX Diamondbacks show. Well, of course, Circle K always makes my day better. That's because Circle K is Arizona and America's thirst stop. Stop in right now, join the inner circle, and you'll save yourself some money, not only on the delicious thirst-quenching beverages they have inside, but also on gas, food, and all sorts of other ways you can save at Circle K. It's easy. All you got to do is download the app, enroll, and then you can just use your phone number from that point to score Circle K deals. You'll get 79-cent Polar Pops all the time. You'll get 99-cent Frosters all the time, and you'll get all sorts of wonderful deals, including deals available to everybody else, like right now where you can get buy 2, get 1 free Monster 16 ounces featuring the Circle K exclusive flavor Ultra Punk Punch, as well as buy 2, get 1 free on Celsius 12-ounce and 16-ounce cans. Those are all ways that I keep myself energized for the day. And of course, you can save on all of that by joining the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit circlek.com for details. And we love our friends over at Branded Bills, and that's because Branded Bills make exceptional hats. Not only are they amazingly comfortable, form-fitting, they stretch a little bit, they're lightweight, they're airy for these hot Arizona summers, but they also feature some of the best logo work you can find on any hat. And if you are looking to have your company stand apart from the crowd, look no further than Branded Bills. They can hook you up with amazing hats, just like they have out there for ASU and U of A as part of their campus collection, and the Phoenix Suns, which they have partnerships with all of those teams and make some wonderful hats for those squads. They also make, of course, some amazing Arizona hats as well. So if you're just a hat aficionado, make sure to check out their full selection over at brandedbills.com. And if you want to get your company, once again, to stand apart from the crowd, you can get your custom order started, and their dedicated team will help you create the exact custom apparel you need with a wide variety of hats, including snapbacks, fitted hats, beanies, trucker hats, and more. They also have t-shirts, they have bags, all sorts of accessories. So head over to brandedbills.com and use our code of BBPHNX, and you will get 15% off your first order. Well, Grudy is back in the chat. Grudy says, I'm back, bitches. We ready for some baseball? Hell yes. Cannot wait for baseball to be back. In fact, what are we? We're 15 days away from pitchers and catchers reporting. Let's go, baby. Cannot wait to be back out there at Salt River Fields. And unfortunately, I'm going to miss my hoodies that I love so much. I'm going to have to figure something out. But I will tell you what we do around here on Mondays is what we do every year on this show, every month, every day, every Monday. And of course, every year is the year of the snake. Every year is our year. Every month on this podcast is Hispanic Heritage Month. And of course, Perdomo Appreciation Month. Every week on this podcast is Shark Week. Every day on the PHNX Diamondbacks podcast is Earth Day because Damon and I recycle. And of course, on Mondays, we go to the mailbag. Damon, let's go to the mailbag.
My mailbox, always something interesting in my mailbox. I try to get to everything in my mailbox. And then once in a while, there's a letter that makes me go, wow, wow, my mailbox. Always something.
Michael Dixon is asking, what is the deal with the hoodies? I guess, I don't know. I just have to look a certain level of professional. I'm not allowed to wear Diamondbacks logos anymore once I go out to the yard, so I have to start cleaning it up. You know, gotta maybe get a haircut here. I don't know. I got to figure some things out.
It's
I'm
just
not
a little
ready.
chillier outside. You know, Derek will be flexing those biceps and wearing those
Summer
Roosevelt
Derek.
shirts. Don't worry about it.
Summer Derek can't wait for those Roosevelt shirts and the arms out, guns out. But
For sure.
I also want to give a shout out once again to that guy, the voice you heard singing our Mailbag Monday song, my good friend Mega Ran. We are going to be rooting him on this Sunday at the Grammys. So, of course, if you have no vested interest at all in anything going on at the Grammys, this is your team. This is your guy to root for. It's a long shot. He's up against Tori Amos in the children's music category, but I think he has a chance. If you ever get a chance to check out Buddy's Magic Treehouse, it is an incredible album. So, of course, make sure to check that out. Damon, what do we got in the mailbag?
We got our first question here from Travis Moore, shockingly.
Shockingly,
and
our leadoff hitter.
He says, the Dbacks are stockpiling second baseman in the farm system. Isn't Cunningham, the kid they just drafted in the first round, supposed to be moving over to second base as well? Between him and the three mentioned last week, it will be fun to see who develops and makes an impact.
I would say like Kason Cunningham is one of the Diamondbacks' top prospects in their system. I have a hard time expecting him to be moved over to second base. I mean, he was their third overall prospect last year at shortstop, but it's also similar deal there at shortstop, right? Like when is your opportunity come up? As of right now, he is still at single A. So he still has plenty of time to develop. He might reach as high as Amarillo in 2026, but there's a good chance that, again, he is still a little ways away as far as making his major league debut. So again, there is potential for him to move over to second base. But as you said, with so many already in the system, I mean, I would try to find some other place for him to play. I mean, again, right now it's literally, I guess, about in his development finding the best place for him, and that could wind up being second base. It just feels like if that's the case, then you have quite the logjam there. And again, Cunningham is most likely going to be the Diamondbacks' second, even though that list hasn't hit yet, will be the Diamondbacks' second overall prospect in 2026. So I don't know. I don't love the idea of moving him to second base because of the talent that they have there. I just also think that there's a good chance that some of these young players could potentially be trade chips for this Diamondbacks team that never seems to truly rebuild. Just depends on which chips those are. again, it feels like teams don't want prospects in the same way they wanted prospects at one point, but they also don't want to give up prospects. So I have no idea what's going on with the trade market and prospects anymore. I do feel, though, like with all of this infield talent the Dbacks have that is currently being blocked by some stellar players that are signed long-term to this team, would not be surprised to see some prospects being traded as far as, moves to be made by this team that does not have much money to spend. What else we got, Damon?
Will you be at the Grammys, Eric?
I will be at the Grammys, yes. I'm going to be at the Grammys. I'm going to the Grammy breakfast. I'm also making stops at Universal Studios and probably Griffith Park to go visit the Hollywood sign if my family is willing to go on a fairly long hike with me to go see that. But I mean, again, this is weird because Grammys are not cheap, and this feels like going to the Super Bowl to root on my team.
Yeah.
It's going to cost me a lot of money.
Yeah.
And if my team wins, then it's worth every dime.
Yeah.
But if my team loses, I'm going to see if the Grammy people will give me a refund. I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen, but I'm very pumped for this. Very, very pumped. What else we got?
Our next question is from Jarmy, and Jarmy asks, do you see a starting pitcher going down and being replaced by a bullpen arm? Who, or a Reno call-up? Who first?
Yeah, this sucks. This is the problem. This is honestly the problem I have with the Diamondbacks pitching situation. If they do not add Zac Gallen, as we discussed earlier, and they proceed into the system the way in the season, the way they're currently constructed, right? You have pretty much all of your starting pitchers as starting pitchers. You don't have a ton of depth. I mean, Taylor Clark was a starter for this Diamondbacks franchise at one point. So I could see Taylor Clark perhaps stepping up into that role. But the bigger problem is that none of the bullpen arms, should an injury happen suddenly, be stretched out enough for them to be like converted to starters. It could happen as the season progressed, especially if they decided to go with like bullpen starts to make up that fifth rotation spot instead of calling up, a young pitcher. But again, there's guys in the system that I would not be surprised to see. And when I say in the system, I mean in the minor league system, get called upon. I think Yuman Lin could be a guy that the Diamondbacks could look to depth if they have any kind of injuries happen, any kind of starting pitchers. I also think Cole Drake is a guy that absolutely could make his debut and be called upon to be a starter for this team. I mean, you're going to have to look at the AAA roster and see which guys in Reno, are being stretched out. A lot of that will be decided in camp and in spring training. And again, the Diamondbacks will have to designate some sort of depth should what has already happened to them just 1 year ago happen to them again. I don't want to even speculate on that or talk about it because it feels like I'm putting bad mojo out there for the Diamondbacks. But again, it would most likely have to be someone like Cole Drake or another arm in the minor league system that steps up and fills that role. Speaking of Cole Drake, we are going to have him on the show this Thursday. So I'm very excited for Cole to join us. Of course, we were very excited about the addition of Cole Drake at the trade deadline for Merrill Kelly. We did a diamond mine on Drake and kind of looked at his career. He's faced a lot of adversity, and he's one of those guys that seems to overcome a lot and has, found ways to get better as his career has gone on. So that's very exciting. Cool Bro has blasphemy in a super chat. He said salsitas greater than Filiberto's. Max is staring at me now because he's deciding if that was a free ad or not, but it's not a free ad because Cool Bro paid $1.99 for the super chat, Damon. So I'm conflicted.
This is a free ad. Nico's is better than both.
There you go.
Tucson people get it.
There you go. I knew you were going to find a way to bring Tucson into this. Also,
no, it's just if we're talking Mexican food, let's talk about the pinnacle.
I get it. Also, I will just reiterate, I thank all of you that have subscribed to our channel. You guys truly do mean the world to us. Again, whether you are a diehard, a supporters club member, or you just subscribe to this channel, it truly means the world to us. But I want to just say that getting to 50,000 means so much more to us overall. Like when it comes to all of this, all of this love from diehards, all of this love from some supporters, because it felt like 50,000 subscribers on YouTube was so far away for us, and it's very cool that it's less than 1,000. I think we're less than 800 subscribers away. So again, that would be amazing for, if you haven't subscribed, for you guys to subscribe to the channel. And it would also be so amazing for everybody that's here right now to tell a friend about us. Tell someone to subscribe to the channel. I mean, if we get one person from each of you, we will knock this out in no time. We'll have 50,000 subscribers by the time our boys are out at the Super Bowl doing all their coverage. I'm going to be drunk at the Waste Management Open, so there's that as well. So let's get these guys a pizza party and hit 50,000. Appreciate you guys that have subscribed and done all that stuff so much, by the way. Appreciate you guys. All right, Damon, what else we got in the mailbag?
Next question is from Michael Rokicki, who says it looks as if they're replacing the scoreboard and other boards. Do we know of any other renovations that are coming to the ballpark for 2026, Derek?
I mean, it's all good news. This is a picture courtesy of our guy Halos Matt 27. He sent this to us on Twitter, and this is what the scoreboard at Chase Field currently looks like. Also, we've seen a few of these pictures online. It's so interesting to see the scoreboard taken apart like this when you kind of like zoom in and see all these little like
rooms,
sections and panels and rooms. It's kind of crazy, right? So I'm excited about this because I feel like this means that, again, much like the light show that was recently installed, that we are getting a new technology there when it comes to the scoreboard. I imagine that we're going to see some things replaced. I'm not sure if they will be replaced by the 2026 season, but I have it on good authority that they are going to bring back the out-of-town scoreboards in like a digital capacity. And again, I think overall, I think we're going to see a lot of like technology upgrades when it comes to the fan experience. There was quite the reception to the addition of a decent lighting system in there. So again, this is upgrades to hopefully make it more on par with what you're seeing. I mean, some other stadiums, their scoreboard and such is incredible. So I don't think we're going to see it increase in size, but we should see it increase in its probably its definition and just how sharp everything looks. But I think we have another question, Damon, overall in regards to this. Someone wanted me to spend some money, I believe. And you know I always love to spend money. What do we got?
Yeah, we got our next question here from Steven. And Steven said, can Kendrick and Maricopa County hand you, our mayor, a blank check for stadium renovations? Oh, sorry, I was muted. Can Kendrick and Maricopa County hand you or our mayor a blank check for stadium renovations and redesign? What are your must-haves? A space for wrestling so fans and managers can take down an umpire-dressed opponents, a Bud and Booze bar, no bad ideas.
All right, first of all, I wouldn't even consider it a Bud and Booze bar, but now that's all I want. Specifically the Bud part, but that's a whole other story. Renovations with a blank check, Damon. I don't even know if you call them renovations. Let me tell you how I would improve Chase Field. First of all, I would spend nearly the entire budget on a new air conditioning system.
The whole budget. Just
the entire budget. This is a blank check. I don't even have a budget. I'm still spending as much money as I possibly can on a new AC system. Look, I was at Globe Life Field in Texas, and it was delightful. It was delightful inside. It was glorious, and I need it to be. And it was terrible outside. Me and Jesse were over at that the ballpark at Arlington like an hour before, drenched in sweat because we were doing content out on like some MLB like stuff for kids that they were having at that stadium during All-Star weekend. And yeah, it was miserable. And we went inside. I couldn't have been more comfortable. So air conditioning. Speaking of that same field, I would also replace all of the panels that open and close with just big windows. Just that entire wall facing north would be nothing but a big glass wall of windows. And then obviously the biggest thing would be bringing back the goddamn clock. The clock will come back. And I mean this in two capacities. Both a digital version of the clock would return to the scoreboard so that when cool stuff happened, like a home run or whatever, it could change face and it could be a baseball and we could have cool stuff going on up there. And I'm also bringing back the original clock that currently resides like it's a homeless person in the damn garage. They have it out in the parking garage. They just have it out there, discarded. Like it's trash, like the Coyotes did with Shane Doan's banner. that clock means something to us, and that clock will not just sit out there. That clock will be brought back into the stadium and properly displayed in an area with other pieces of memorabilia from the stadium from the days when we won a World Series, right? Like, we have all of this stuff. It's laying around doing nothing. And I will say that one of the things, again, this is I'm taking way too much away from what the Rangers did, but celebrated their history. You know, we don't have much history. We have not been around very long, but the history we do have is fairly prestigious, and people really do love that stuff. I mean, I would have some sort of way to display the old out-of-town scoreboards up somewhere and the clock, even if it's just decor. Maybe it's in a nostalgic area with other things. I don't know. I just think that all of that stuff means a lot to fans, and I think that they want to see it displayed. I also understand that those old out-of-town scoreboards were a nuisance. So again, I'm replacing those with new LED screens that have graphics up there that look exactly like the old out-of-town scoreboards. They even look like they're lit up bulbs up there. I want it to look exactly like it used to, and then those screens can change again when fun things happen and home runs happen and whatever. Cool Bro says, make La Teresa more Hispanic. We can do that. We can absolutely do that. We can bring even more Hispanic food to the stadium because this is what our culture is. Now, I will say that the Sonoran dog is the finest hot dog that anyone could eat, and they are available in abundance at Chase Field. So I'm proud of that. But again, when it comes to improvements, the last thing I need to add once again is the slide, and I need Baxter's suit to be made out of waterproof fur of some kind. And I need Baxter to take a ride down from like the main concourse into the pool when, once again, a home run is hit. These are all things that, like, my main focus is increasing the celebratory factors when a home run is hit. So this is where I'm at. You got anything to add, Damon? Anything else you want to make? We're bringing back Dutch Bros, by the way, if it's not already back. Someone told me it was back, and I swear to God, if it's not back, I'm going to be so upset that it's not back. Cool Bro says no more Bar S hot dogs. Fine. Hebrew National. We're only doing Hebrew National. What do you got?
I like Max's idea of the ball pit. I've been saying make all outfields like a moat of ball pits for a long time, and then make it where you can dive into the ball pit while you're robbing a home run, and it counts as being a robbed home run rather than you going over the fence and it being still a home run.
Yeah.
Like if you catch the ball and you fall into the ball pit, that's a home run robbery. Welcome to Sports Center.
What if you jump over the fence, you clear the fence, you land in the ball pit, you're kind of on top, ball falls and you catch it? Are you out of play at that point?
No, the ball pit is in play.
So that's a robbery.
The ball pit moat is in play. If you can somehow beat the baseball to the ball pit and get in there, you're the fastest man alive. You deserve that catch.
Yeah, all right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No. I love this idea.
It's fantastic. Also, maybe an armed guard at the pool so that no bastard division rival can jump in our pool ever again.
I will institute like the supervillains used to have, like in James Bond movies, like one of those like closing doors, like a metal door that closes over the top of it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And you know what? We could have sharks with freaking laser beams on their head in the pool waiting for them. They jump over. They're surprised, right? Oh, where'd the pool go? What is this metal floor? Boom. We open the trap door on them.
Dude, that would be nuts.
Sharks with laser beams.
If we literally switched it to a saltwater pool.
Yeah.
Within second, like people were in it. And then those people had to leave the ballpark.
Yeah.
And then we don't actually have...
We drain.
We don't have an armed guard.
Yeah.
We say, hey, you guys want to jump in the pool?
Go right ahead.
Please try it.
Yeah.
And then we have just a freaking tiger shark just waiting in the pool like, okay, Shohei, I've been waiting on this moment.
We released 4 full-sized alligators into the pool right before you guys came out to celebrate.
Oh, Shohei, is that a paper cut on your finger? Well, it shouldn't be a big deal. It's not like sharks smell blood or anything.
Yeah. All right. Well, we fixed that.
The AJ Pollock punching bag. Sure. I'm with that.
I like it.
Put it right next to the David Peralta one.
I forgot the biggest thing. We're putting a statue of Randy Johnson out front.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
What about Gonzo doing this after
that would be good too. Yeah, Gonzo doing that would be good too. But I just feel like Randy deserves it.
I think a Randy. Well, it makes it a little difficult, but I think a Randy Schilling of them holding the World Series MVP trophy would be pretty sweet, like the bobblehead.
Yeah, but like most bobbleheads, can the Schilling one be broken? Like the statue's broken, like the head fell off and the right arm's doesn't work?
No.
Okay. All right. What else we got?
It's my friend Curt Schilling, by the way, that you're talking about. I met him at last Super Bowl.
God, I would not claim him as a friend.
Sorry.
That's not a good idea. All right. What else we got in the mailbag?
This is from Bees here, and Bees asks, it won't matter which arms we acquire so long as we have incompetency at pitching coach position. Something in the pitching program is causing all of these Tommy John surgeries. 1 or 2 is random, 3 or 4 is a trend, 5 or 6 is a pattern. Have to treat the underlying condition because acquisitions are only surface level solutions. Am I off base here, Derek and Damon?
I think we are a little bit, Bees. And I don't blame,
I think we need to know that we need to see this year. Sorry to cut you off, but I think that this year will tell us a lot.
Yeah,
I'm not willing to say 1 year sample size is a completely on Brian.
That I agree with too, but I think that's how we want to feel, Bees, and I can understand you feeling that way. I just think that at the end of the day, it's just bad luck because even the guys that had Tommy John surgery in the minor league system, they weren't being coached by Brian Kaplan, right? So it's not like they were being coached by the same person, yet the Diamondbacks essentially lost their 2 depth pieces in Blake Walston and Tommy Henry to Tommy John surgery as well. So I feel, unfortunately, as much as I hate to blame it on the game of baseball, I do feel like the things that we do enjoy about the changes to the game might have a pretty negative impact on pitchers. I think that, that makes the speed of the game now with the pitching clock mixed with the just increased attempt at velocity in everything pitchers do, throwing 95 mile an hour plus sinkers now, where 100 miles an hour for a fastball isn't even that fast anymore. I mean, you're only hitting 98. You're not hitting triple digits. Like there's things like that I think have impacted the game as well negatively. And it's the reason why it wasn't just on the Diamondbacks specifically. It was an epidemic across baseball. We focus on this team because we love this team, and this team had more than your average number of pitchers go down due to this injury. But across baseball, it's been really bad. And I mean, again, like Damon said, if this does happen in 2026 again, then I might have to join you on this bandwagon. And
absolutely. I
just feel like it's too small of a sample size.
Yeah, it's up for interpretation. I don't think that it would be fair to say that it's like all on Kaplan or whatever. Obviously, Brian Kaplan had a rough first year, and I think we all are probably like, man, maybe you should have kept Brent Strom. But I think that Kaplan deserves a second year to kind of show us whether or not this was a fluke or whatnot. But to be fair, it could be absolutely devastating to this team if we have more injuries similar that we did this season. That would be crippling to the franchise. That would ruin careers. So yeah.
Christopher Campbell is asking about Curt Schilling. What I'll just say is go look up why Curt Schilling was fired by ESPN, and that'll tell you the reason. It has nothing to do with anything other than comments he made that were fairly hateful, right? So, but again, this is this is why Twitter should be taken away from everybody, right? Everything should be when you make controversial comments, then that's what happens sometimes, right? But anyway, what else we got, Damon?
Our next question is from Karen with a C, who says, are we satisfied with Adrian Del Castillo as DH? It makes me really sad to think that this is the best we can do for a power hitter.
I don't think we're satisfied with that. No, I think it might end up being the reality. And again, it's another player that we're trying to look and take that step forward. But it's also, I don't know how to say it, Damon. It's once again, hoping that someone takes a step forward. We've seen Adrian Del Castillo be incredibly clutch at times, but it's also a very small sample size of what he has done at a major league level. And again, he has a lot of potential, but I'm with you. And I think a lot of Diamondbacks fans are. We would much rather see somebody else as an option at DH and not just have Del Castillo be what the Diamondbacks or whoever's not platooning at first or whoever's not platooning at third to be kind of their options at DH. A real DH feels like it would, it would make this lineup better. And we have plenty of power. But it would be nice to have like a true power bat. Like you're getting plenty of home runs out of the combination of Marte, Corbin Carroll, and Perdomo. But you'd still love to see, with the frequency that those guys are able to get on base, a big bat that steps up as a designated hitter and can provide potentially more consistent at bats than someone like Del Castillo. I still don't think it's the worst thing in the world because there is plenty of opportunity on this team. And even if Del Castillo doesn't work out, there's a good chance someone else could be given that role. Again, it's just one of the areas that it felt like they needed to address this offseason. But Damon, I would suggest that they don't have enough money for them to bring in anybody that's solely a DH. Whoever they would have a DH would have to be essentially a first baseman or an outfielder.
Yeah, probably. I mean, they'd have to be capable of playing those positions. But yeah, I mean, I'm not satisfied with Adrian Del Castillo either. I think he could be decent, but I'm not. Yeah, it's not anything that you necessarily would be like thrilled about going into the season as a starter. I've said similar about Blaze, to be honest. It's similar about Jordan Lawler. I think
the third base situation.
All those guys need to earn their playing time still because you can't just say I'm comfortable with them as a full-time starter. I think.
Yeah. All right. What else we got?
This one comes from Corbin Carroll enthusiast who asked if you two could challenge one current D-back to a race, and if you win, the D-backs win a three-peat. What D-back are you racing there?
Oh my God. It has to be a pitcher, right? Like, let's start off with, let's figure this out, Damon, because we really need to whittle this down to, like, I don't want to dunk on anybody that I'm going to bring up here.
How long is the race?
Let's say it's the race from second base to the outfield like they do, where you steal the base and you have to run out to like their finish line in right field.
Yeah.
Right? We're not talking about a marathon. We're talking about a sprint, maybe a 40-yard dash. And you and I have to beat them. Now, the first name that comes to mind for me is Ryan Thompson. And I'm going to tell you why. I could trip Ryan Thompson. And Ryan Thompson probably wouldn't be mad at me for it. Because he's a pro wrestling fan. He would appreciate the heel move that I pulled off and would respect it, I think. And also, he's tall. And I don't know how fast tall. I mean, like, I'm thinking like I get like giraffes and stuff are tall, but I don't know about how fast Ryan Thompson is. In fact, a lot of times when they're like jogging and doing laps and stuff, I see Ryan Thompson, at the rear. Don't get me wrong. It's usually because he's laughing and having a good time with people, but still, I think that Damon and I could probably take Ryan Thompson in a race. Is that fair to say, or is that unfair?
I think like the only reason I feel okay about Ryan Thompson as the answer is because he's such a large man.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I think that's a lot of body that he's running
right.
With. Whereas I'm not saying I'm as fast as him, but I'm like Corbin Carroll size. I'm like 5'9". 170.
Right.
I'm not carrying a big frame behind me like 6'6" Ryan Thompson is. But also Ryan Thompson is not one of the bigger guys in terms of weight on this roster, Derek. There's a lot larger, individuals
Juan
in
Murillo,
particular.
Perhaps?
Yeah. I mean, shoot. How fast is James McCann?
Oh.
How fast is Kevin Ginkel at 6'4", 235?
Do you really want to challenge James McCann to anything?
How fast is 245 Corbin Burns? You know what I mean? Like these are some big boys that we got in this pitching staff.
Yeah.
In particular, Pavin's pretty damn slow.
Yeah, we need somebody in like the 10th percentile or lower. Pitchers don't have that because pitchers don't run and they don't get evaluated on speed. So that's why I immediately think it has to be one of the bullpen guys.
Katie, good luck with that.
Katie says Corby's 5'10".
Sure, we'll say that.
Okay.
It's his listed height, that's for sure.
That's his listed height. Yeah. All right. I don't know. Well, I think we figured it. I'm definitely not challenging James McCann.
Yeah, see, James McCann, like I feel like he low-key is kind of fast. I mean, Pavin Smith, listen, let's be honest here, Derek. Me and you are both, like, if we're being real, we're probably like second percentile sprint speed.
Sure.
Like we're looking at Baseball Savant. I need someone that's like the lowest of the low.
Yeah, because there's a lot of blue on my Baseball Savant page for sure.
It's all blue.
Yeah.
I'm looking at Pavin Smith. He's 23rd percentile. Like I don't know. I don't think we're able to beat that guy.
Mighty
I would
Schumann
say
says,
Lourdes with
Lourdes,
but he's back. But he's back.
Oh, yeah.
So he's definitely faster than me.
See, that's the problem. We would say Lourdes, and then Lourdes would beat the hell out of us.
100%.
He would lap us.
James McCann is trying to look at his sprint speed here. And, of course, Baseball Savant is not loading for me now. He's 25th, so he's faster than Pavin.
Okay. We don't love that. All right. Yeah, I'm still ticking with Ryan Thompson. That's what I'm still
Okay. I might go Ginkle.
Okay.
He's a little bit older.
Yeah.
He's 235 pounds.
See, I'm thinking.
I just feel like he's not a runner. He's not sprinting like that. He would beat me in a stamina battle
I'm
for
thinking
sure.
of fieriness. See, Cameron says Nolan Arenado is very slow, and that's a good point. Like Nolan Arenado also probably wouldn't want to participate in this.
He's 10th.
There we go. We got it.
That might be the guy. That might be the guy.
That might be the guy. You also have like effort. Like again, effort mixed with slowness. Yeah, we're beating him.
Adrian Del Castillo is 15th percentile speed, so he's not very quick.
We figured it out. Good job, Cameron. Nolan Arenado. That's our guy.
It's either Nolan Arenado or a pitcher because we don't have their running stats tracked. But yeah.
You know who it could be? Could be John Curtis.
Could absolutely, Derek.
Say his name and he appears. All right. What else we got in the mailbag, Damon?
John Rauch coached me, cool bro, at a camp back in the day.
Really?
And I got pictures of me standing next to John Rauch teaching me how to pitch, and it's like the funniest picture of all time. Let me just say, like, I'm 5'9" now, which is obviously not tall, but it's like close enough to average height that it's not embarrassing.
That's sick.
I used to be the shortest kid in every single class I had growing up. So I was the shortest second grader in the world standing next to 6'10" John Rauch, and it didn't really mash up from a size standpoint. But getting into our I believe our last question.
Last question. Let's get out of here, Damon.
Number one Dbacks in Texas wants to know your backyard baseball lineup with positions.
Oh God. This is, I mean,
my Rolodex doesn't go back that far, if I'm being completely honest. I know that's not an answer people want to hear, but I was like in middle school or elementary school, and I can't sit here and begin to
Meanwhile,
remember.
I was mashing dingers with Pablo Sanchez. Also, fun fact, the theme song for this show, based on Pablo Sanchez's walk-up music. Pablo Sanchez, my number one overall pick, shortstop, stud, legend in the backyard baseball world. Also, I'm going with a progressive lineup here. We got Jocinda Smith at first base and Keisha Phillips at second. That's my two infielders. Pablo's going to play shortstop, and then the power bat, Ahmed Khan. He's at third base. Outfield, Dante Robinson, Pete Wielder, Mark Dubois. Bang, bang, bang. Bang, 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 especially there in center field with Pete Wheeler. A lot of people want him to play first base. You get him out there in center field, he'll show off his speed. You got Dmitry Petrovic, catcher, behind home plate, and you got the man, the K-man, Kenny Kawaguchi as the starting pitcher. So there, no disrespect to Del Vecchio or the Del Vecchio siblings there. But there's my starting lineup for you, and I hope that knowing these guys proves that I know ball. So there we go. Damon, we got to get out of here. But again, we thank you guys so much for your Mailbag Monday questions. This show wouldn't be what it is without each and every one of you. So we appreciate you guys. We will see you back here tomorrow with another 12 p.m. show. Until then, you can follow us on social media. I'm at Cap_Caveman with a K. Damon is at Damon Dog with a DAWG. And we're all Damon's dogs. Bark, bark. Our show is at PHNX_Dbacks, but as always, all roads lead to at PHNX_sports on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We appreciate your guys' time. Thank you so much for sharing it with us. We will see you tomorrow. Until then, have yourselves a wonderful evening. Let's hope that the Cardinals find themselves a coach, and let's hope that the Diamondbacks can make this team even better by bringing back Paul Goldschmidt. We will see you tomorrow at 12 p.m. Until then, hope you guys all behave yourselves, bees. And remember, kids, baseball is fun, but it's so much more fun when the milkman comes home.
We all silly like the mayor.